More of your go-to for all things home. This is Home Answers Radio, presented by JeffBuysYourHouse.com, Access, Level 10 Coatings, Steiner Homes, Center Guard Plumbing, and by American Beam and Steel. Once again, here's Roger Piper.
Your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio.
Hi, welcome to Home Answers. I'm Roger Piper. This show is all about your home. Today we're going to talk about packing your home up and moving, whether it's across town or across the country. And we've got somebody that you need to hear about and somebody that you want to check into because it is unique. There isn't anything like it. And it's called Dryve. And the president is Jim Boswell. He's our guest. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
WeDriveYourTruck.com is the website, and basically what you've done is kind of create something that is unique and in the middle and different, because moving, it's traditionally what people have done is that they'll do everything themselves. They'll get the truck, they'll get the friends, whoever, hire people, pack it all up, move it, take it to the destination or that. And then the other way is moving companies, and then you brought up another one. They have these container companies now, too, that will move containers. But those are the only way. That's really it. A moving company's not going to let you drive the truck. So you created a company that gives an opportunity to really get some of the expertise, but also the scariest part, and that's driving these huge trucks and maybe pulling a vehicle. So tell us basically how it works. I know that you're getting ready to move. What you say is you rent the truck, you pack it, and then you drive it. And that's basically how it works, right?
That is how it works, yes. Yep.
All right. So if I am somebody that really doesn't know what I'm doing and I need some help, would you offer help on maybe some tips on how to pack it, or maybe how to find people to help pack it, to hire people, or also what trucks I should get? Because, I think that's the one disadvantage of people doing it themselves is that they really don't know. They really don't know. Okay, is this a good rental company to use for a truck? Is this a bad one? Is it good to hire, people from this source or that source? So tell us how you can kind of help with the entire experience.
Yeah, this is important because even though we do the aspect of the driving and all the transportation part, each one of those other aspects of renting a truck and labor, renting a truck, for instance, each company has their own way that they do things. And whether there's unlimited mileage versus having to pay for mileage if you go over a certain number of miles, and that can add up. That can be something people don't expect. Getting a truck, when there's three 26-foot trucks there, asking for the one that is the newest one because it's going to get better gas mileage. It's probably going to have maybe some accoutrements like cruise control, which some of the older trucks don't. It's going to have a radio that has Bluetooth, and again, just things that make the experience better. Not for our drivers, but if you're going to rent that truck, those are things that would be helpful, to you. And on labor side, make sure that you have a lock. Do you have straps? So that's, because a lot of times labor won't bring a strap, or you won't think of that until, and so your stuff might move around in the back of the truck. How can you keep it safe? How can you keep it protected? All these different things, even from what size truck do I need? I ask people questions about, what are the biggest things they're moving? How many boxes? 50 or more, 50 or less? Those kind of things, and help them even figure out what size truck they may need. All these things, number one, there's a cost to these things, and so you want to save as much money as possible. But two, from a safety standpoint, that your stuff shows up, unbroken and things like that. All of those things are things that people don't really even know the questions to ask. So when we're helping somebody through the whole process, we're telling them things that at the end they're just like, we're so grateful to you for just telling us the things that we found really, really helpful that we never would have even thought of.
Yeah, and I think when people look at that, they go, okay, I hire them, they drive the truck. But it's not just that, because, that's great service. Nothing wrong with that. The scariest part of the move is taken care of by somebody who's a professional. I get that. But the real advantage is to get that expertise and being able to know what questions to ask and have recommendations on certain companies. I mean, that's invaluable, isn't it?
It is, and on that labor end, there's 10,000 or more probably labor companies that would give you a price to come out and do the loading and the unloading. What we find all over the United States is that we've been there ready to pick up a truck, and people are still waiting for labor to show up. And it turns out that a couple people called off sick, and they literally just don't show up. Now, that's not to say people are bad or whatever, but there's ways to go about vetting people that will be part of your move, where you make it clear that even labor, I don't want labor on the second or third job. Those guys start getting tired as the day goes on. I want labor on the first job at 8 in the morning. I want my labor to show up like just ready to roar, And so like all these little tips about like what's the best way, and again we can help people all the way through. Again, like you said, it's different than the money that you would pay for the driving part, which is the fuel and the hotels and all that kind of thing. It's all of it is important, because if any one of those areas go south, there's going to be a regret. It's going to be a bad thing. So yeah, we can help all the way through.
So the number one thing you want is a good moving experience. The driving is part of it, but if you can help out with everything else, then the percentage goes up of that being a good experience.
Yeah, it goes way up, because there are nightmare stories that I hear every day of things that have gone wrong. And so, we want it to be that, after working with Dryve in any aspect, we want it to be that, listen, this would be your easy next phone call if you ever move again, or your family moves, your friends. If you're standing in line and there's strangers talking that they don't know who to call, you would go, hey, I'm sorry, I wasn't eavesdropping on you, but hey, we have a great resource for you. We've had people do all those things. And so, yeah, that's important that all of the aspects go well.
Now, even if you have the means or you want to hire a traditional moving company, give us some insights on why that would not necessarily be a good idea, some stuff behind the scenes and how things have changed.
In a traditional moving company, today, unlike probably 20 or 30 years ago, most of the moving companies, again, I'm making a generalization here, but most of the companies, and I would say more than 80%, I've done my research. I'm a numbers guy, so these numbers are accurate. Most of them are brokering, and people don't find this out until later on when they're having a hard time getting a hold of somebody, because the person that answers the phone, the person that gives the quote, the person that comes out and looks at your stuff, the person that, even the company that comes out and picks up your stuff and puts it in a truck, once that truck leaves, if you have a move 1,500 miles or more, most of the time, more than 80% of the time, they're only going to drive that either locally or someplace that's a short distance, and all of your stuff is coming back off the truck. And they're going to keep doing this every 400 or 500 miles until your stuff gets to the other end. And on that end, now you have to schedule with that company to bring your stuff. And most of the time, they're going to tell you that, yeah, you still owe us more money, even though you have a contract and an agreement, because they've been brokering that and paying money for that move all the way along. But that last company, they haven't gotten their bite yet. And so for them to bring the stuff to you, they're going to tell you, you still owe us amount of money, and we're not going to bring your stuff until you pay it. And this is really a nightmare when you're waiting for your things already for 2, 3, 4 weeks to get your stuff, and then they tell you, oh yeah, you still owe us money. That's a bad deal.
It's appalling when you think about that. If you haven't moved in a while, I mean, I had no idea. I thought I haven't moved in a while, but when you move, the company goes from A to B, and that's it. That's not the case, is it?
Most of the time, that is not the case. And so when you read, people that write, reviews and blogs and all these kind of things, which with TikTok and social media, you can read, plenty of these things. You could do your own homework on this, and everything that I'm saying is 100% accurate, because it's a way that people can find money by selling moving services, but that doesn't mean the operation side matches what the sales strategy is. There's two parts to it, and we have the sales business development strategy on the front end, that everything is upfront and true and accurate, so that the same company that took the things out of your driveway is the same exact company that is bringing your stuff to your next driveway.
One phone call, one person to contact, right?
One person, one contact, and then when you're a driver, you would have access to that driver the entire time of your drive. It doesn't change. It's the same person that you met on the front end is the same person that's going to bring your stuff on the back end.
So not only have you created a less expensive way to move, you've also kind of fixed part of the system, too, in that you brought back the old-time service that, you know, you're going to be dealing with one company and not a bunch of brokers, and when your price is your price is your price, right?
That's it. And I guess to say a little further on that, most of the time a moving company has in their contracts that it can take up to 30 days to get your things. That's in most contracts.
Right.
And so that 30 days is often less, and sometimes it's even more. A move that we would move somebody from Chicago to, say, Florida, when we leave on Monday, your stuff is in Florida in your next driveway on Tuesday. Yeah. So the thought of having things that you don't have now access to for weeks, again, it's this brokering concept, is that they're only going a certain amount away, and so they have to wait for more stuff going that way. With us, you're the only move that we're doing with that truck, because it's your truck and your stuff is in it. So the moves are in 1, 2, or 3 days, whether 300 or 3,000 miles, versus it being weeks or a month or more.
Jim, thanks for being on the show. It is a better way to move. I mean, flat out it is. You found the best parts of a move and the scariest parts of a move from a consumer, and you fixed it, along with making it affordable, too. WeDriveYourTruck.com. WeDriveYourTruck.com. I recommend that you go there, check it out, put them on your list of things that I need in case I ever need. I think that's a good thing to do. And you can call them at 708-297-8425. Jim, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks so much.
It's Home Answers on AM 560, The Answer.